The screenplay credits for this video are attributed to the Stoicando channel. The world is full of traps around every corner, ready to undermine your masculine power. Just take a look at every famous Netflix movie or show being promoted, or the types of people being idolized these days. Nothing escapes the mind control agenda of the elites. Men are being brainwashed to accept weakness. There's a very famous story about a lion that I want you to hear. Once upon a time, there was a fierce lion who was feared by all. One day, the lion fell in love with the farmer's daughter. But there was a problem. The farmer hated the lion, and upon discovering the lion's love for his daughter, he wanted to do everything to stop it. So the crafty farmer calls the lion and says he will only allow him to marry his daughter on one condition, that he remove his sharp claws for her safety. The lion thought it over. It's just a small price for a big reward. Why not? The lion goes to a rock and breaks its claws. The next day he goes to the farmer and says, "Now I have no sharp claws, now give me your daughter's hand in marriage." But the crafty farmer tells him to do one more thing, have him remove his sharp teeth and fangs. The lion agrees to this condition as well and breaks its sharp tusks. However, when the lion returns to the farmer the next day, the farmer attacks the lion and kills it. This time, the lion had neither claws nor sharp teeth to defend itself. Everything that gave the lion strength, he chose to give up voluntarily, one by one. Remember, brothers, the world you live in today is no different. There are much larger forces at play that have carefully designed the matrix to keep you a slave to your desires and impulses. And here's the hard truth. You can blame the farmer or the elites all you like, but in the end, it was the lion who willingly chose to obey them. Strength is the virtue that all men must follow, whether in professional, financial, or romantic life. Every man naturally has a desire to feel dominant, strong, and powerful, because that's who you are. All men desire a strong sense of drive. Many of us don't because we indulge in behaviors that keep us from becoming the strong men we were meant to be. Nowadays, men complain about everything, spend a lot of money on drugs and pornography, and even apologize to others for things that don't require an apology. They are habits that make men weak. Number 1. Making fun of others. This is a point that often goes unaddressed, but as a high-value man, you must never look down on others. Perhaps you've heard the crab bucket analogy. When a crab is about to escape the bucket, others pull it back. If you find yourself making fun of others, remember this: you are putting yourself below them, period. Of course, that doesn't mean you shouldn't correct someone for their mistakes, but don't make fun of it. As a man, you need to teach and guide your brothers without hard feelings or ulterior motives. Remember, strong, confident men don't put others down. Instead, they are there to support and uplift you. This point may seem obvious, but it is sorely needed, especially in the current generation. Hear what Mike Tyson says about it. Social media has made you very comfortable disrespecting people and not getting punched in the face for it. Number 2. Failure to accept responsibility. Going back to the story of the lion and the farmer's daughter, the biggest reason why the lion loses everything in the end comes down to him not being aware of his responsibility. His responsibility was to live like a lion. His sharp fangs and claws were part of what made him a lion, but he forgot that responsibility and chose to relinquish it. The same is true in your life. Take your responsibilities with pride. I want you to say with me, "I will honor my responsibilities with pride, for they are what make me a man." The day you choose to escape your responsibilities is the day you choose to abandon manhood altogether. Memorize this quote. The price of greatness is responsibility. Listen again. The price of greatness is responsibility. Number 3. Run away from failure. This is a challenge many men face these days. Most of them always choose comfort over growth. Remember that growth is painful and is often hidden behind failure. There is a famous example of the man who goes digging for diamonds. He doesn't know how deep below the surface the diamond is, but he keeps digging. At first, he just sees more dirt every time he digs, but he persists. After a few hours or even days, he finds what he was looking for. So, brethren, remember that failure is not the end. If that's the mindset you have, You can be sure you'll never succeed at anything worthwhile. Think of anything worth having. Let's say you start a business. At first, you may face many so-called failures as you try to learn the business and win over your customers. However, when you stay in the game long enough and don't try to run away from these temporary failures, you find yourself growing. The same goes for women. At first, when you approach them, you might seem like a strange man who doesn't know how to interact. But your success is hidden behind these temporary failures. This is a small price a strong man must pay for success. We are often trained like children to be ashamed of our mistakes and failures, trying to justify them and blaming someone else. You might have said, "It's not my fault," or "That person is to blame." Those are the thoughts of a loser. I want you to listen to this quote and write it down somewhere if you like. It is a weak man who blames his failure on the strength of others. Number 4. Submitting to futile laws too easily. Want to know the difference between a coward and a man of high worth? It's simple. The coward will always side with the majority, even if what they are saying is clearly wrong. What's worse is that the coward expects the man of high worth to also submit to these futile and evil laws and regulations. A high-value man always examines and judges everything before deciding to follow. In today's world, we've been so conditioned to the mindset that you shouldn't judge, or that you shouldn't do this or that. This is getting out of hand. You are just a puppet and a lab rat when you submit to all the agendas and laws they create. There's nothing wrong with obeying, but only obey what's in line with your purpose, your mission. And above all, besides God, nothing is above the law of the Almighty. Ask yourself if you are someone who is easily intimidated and tries to please everyone. For some men, it can be incredibly difficult to learn to say no. But if you act on the truth, for the first time, you will understand that the world is not going to collapse around you. I've seen so many men lead a life of fear in marriage, as if their wives were some kind of tyrant and they dared not speak up or correct them. This is a clear example of futile submission. 5th, you have poor body language. The concept of body language is very important. This includes nonverbal cues such as a handshake, eye contact, how you sit, walk, and move when talking and interacting with others. People can tell if you are a strong man or a weak man by your body language. It's funny, but agendas also turned against strong male body language. Be intentional with your body and maintain a masculine posture. Remember that your body language is easily the first and easiest way to prevent someone from taking advantage of you. 6th place. Waste your young days. We always discuss the importance of your young days on this channel. Your early 20s, and even your 30s to some extent, are what we call your golden days. Those are the days you build and build and build. Think of a farmer who plants a seed. He does not expect the seed to bear fruit the next day. In your 20s, just as a farmer plants seeds, you need to plant spiritual, emotional, and physical seeds that will help you grow. But here's the most important part. Don't expect to reap those rewards right away. Just keep planting. Before you know it, you'll have planted forests and gardens that attract the right kind of life. By plant, I mean challenge yourself. This doesn't mean you have to go all out and work 24/7. But always keep in mind that these are the days when you have the most energy and the opportunity to take the biggest risks. Use it in your favor. Especially when you're young, you may feel like you're missing out on the hookup culture by investing in yourself, but resist the urge. You may not understand this now, but as you mature and age, you'll thank yourself for not getting distracted. Hear what the wisest man on earth has to say about his younger days. These are the words of Solomon. You who are young, be happy while you are young, and let your heart rejoice in the days of your youth. Follow the paths of your heart and what your eyes see. All these things, God will bring him into judgment. 7th, being lazy and unproductive with your time. What time do you go to bed and what time do you wake up? How is your day structured? What do you do when you get back from work? These are all questions you need to take seriously. Don't think of them as a side task that you can tackle when you have free time. As a man who wants to strive for success in all areas, you need to carefully plan your day. Think about why the powerful are so successful in building the matrix. Every aspect and area has been carefully planned. Likewise, think about every part of your day, the types of people you're hanging out with, the type of content you're consuming. If you don't have the right thoughts in your mind, be sure you've given the matrix open access to enter you. Laziness is the biggest enemy of men nowadays. As a man, you can have so many business or life-related thoughts, but never act on them. If you allow it, laziness will gradually sneak up on you without you noticing, eating away at you and preventing you from moving forward with your life in a productive way. Always remember, brothers, that laziness only has a chance against weak men. A high-value man quickly learns to detect and correct it. Always be aware of laziness and fight it as soon as possible. So remember, brothers, weakness is the virtue of modern society. Weakness is what they pursue, but strength is their greatest virtue. Seek strength at every opportunity, and remember that God is your greatest strength. Don't forget to show your support. Give a like for the algorithm to understand that the video is good and recommend it to more people. Stay on the screen and watch the next video that will appear here. And if you want to receive your weekly dose of motivation and Stoic wisdom applied to modern times, subscribe to the channel, okay? I'm the Stoic, and I'm sticking around.